Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Kansas City, Missouri and Bakersfield, California, it's time for the Fantasy Football Podcast with your two bald hosts, Corey Skaggs and Matt Thompson. Brought to you by Please Don't Sue Us for Using This Music.
Well, welcome everyone to the first ever episode 1 of the Fantasy Football, get it, podcast.
Bald.
What's that?
I said get it because we're both bald.
Yeah, I don't do it. I don't do it on purpose. That is not a
One
choice.
of us by choice, one of us by nature.
It's like naughty by nature, but choice by nature.
Right.
So, we're just doing this podcast. We're doing it for fun. We've been listening to a podcast for a while now called the Fantasy Footballers, and they actually started out as doing a podcast about their own fantasy football league, which is kind of where we got the idea from. So this is our
And they've grown up to be like giant. Like every week they have
yeah.
Juju Smith-Schuster and other people on their podcast weekly.
Aren't they in his league now?
Yeah, he has a Juju league that they're playing in.
And they got him in the draft.
Who, they got him?
Yeah.
I don't know if that would be fair if he could draft himself.
Oh, I would.
No, but I think that's against like NFL policy because then you could like.
Oh, they were going to try to trade him and use him as leverage to get like someone really good. Yeah. So each week we're going to actually be doing the podcast on Wednesdays and then releasing it on Thursdays, but we're going to be talking about our own fantasy league called the Bako Ballers because 9 out of the 12, correct, live in Bakersfield still.
Yeah, only 3 that don't are you, Jimmy, and David.
So David is in Miami, Florida. I am in Kansas City, Missouri, and Jimmy is in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Coolest part about that is what is the rule we implemented this year?
You have to be present to be in the league for the draft because we do our league a little different than you do your normal snake draft. And actually, was going to let Matt kind of dig into that in a second. But our plan is just to have a good time, make fun of people, give props to those who deserve it, and ridicule throughout the year. Brittany, Jimmy, Dallas, Jake, Jeff, Brett. So everyone is fair game. Even, Justin as well. I'm trying to think who else we're missing. No, not us. We did fine.
Obviously, we cannot make fun of each other.
Exactly. I'll let Matt talk. Like I said, I'll let Matt talk about a little bit about our league and how it's set up because we do ours as an auction draft. So, Matt, you want to jump into that for a second?
Yeah. So we are not your typical snake draft. We are auction draft. Last year was, I think, most of your first time doing an auction draft.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
This year we have a new player joining. We'll talk about them in a little bit, but it's their first auction draft. I had done an auction draft, the league, prior to this one. That kind of got me interested. It makes the draft a little more interactive, a little more fun. But cool thing about the must be present to draft, we tried the auction draft last year with David in Miami, and he was on
Skype or FaceTime or whatever we did it as.
And it was like 3:00 in the morning there when we got done. But my lovely wife is our auctioneer, and she had to pay attention to a screen plus the other rambunctious 11 of us that were here. So we just figured it's easier to implement that. The caveat of that is every 4 years we will not be drafting in Bakersfield to make up for those of you guys who have to travel and buy plane tickets and whatnot. So,
which is pretty cheap to most of the places. And even if we do it in Vegas, that's a 4-hour drive.
Yeah, true.
So it's not too bad. So Matt, you want to jump into today's agenda and what we're going to be talking about?
So what we're going to cover today, and just to let you guys know, the reason we're doing Wednesdays as our podcast day is because waivers clear Wednesday morning. And so that way one of our talking points is going to be like most shocking waiver pickup and worst waiver pickup or best waiver pickup.
Jimmy.
And we'll cover some of those things today too, just based on last year's draft. But to give you an idea of what we're going to talk about today briefly, we were shooting for 15, 20 minutes. We'll see what happens.
Who knows?
The plan is to do it once a week. Hey, maybe it'll turn into 2 times a week, 3 times a week. I don't know. Our fantasy footballer inspiration, they do it every single day, every day of the year. And it's their full-time job. Not that we're trying to get to that, but not that we're against getting to that either. So
I love making terrible decisions all year. It's my favorite thing to do.
Today we're going to go over welcome backs. We're going to talk about everybody that's returning to the league. We're going to talk about our new addition. We will talk about last year's draft. We're going to talk about rule changes. This is big, especially before the draft. Our draft is coming up in
6 days.
So it's good to hear rule changes. We'll also talk about those at the draft. So if you don't catch them all right now, that's all right. We'll go over them again. We're going to go over team names. We're going to talk about our 3 favorites each so far. Last year, we started the league as a heroes versus villains fantasy football league where all of our team names represented someone from Marvel or DC or the comic books.
Superheroes.
Any superhero in general or villain. And we'll actually talk about last year's team names. We're going to go over who drafts some of the shocking drafting people this week. I don't want to give the specifics because that's the whole point. Super Bowl predictions, who we think will go to the Super Bowl. And then every week you will get a dad joke of the week from both of us.
Just because they're funny.
Yeah, and as you all know, I have a new addition to my family, little Gavin James. And Justin has a new addition to the family, so babies are becoming...
And then Brett.
Therefore, dad jokes are becoming more of a thing. Oh, Brett. Yes, Brett. Well, we just announced our new player. That's all right.
Oh.
Way to go, dude.
Stop.
But we'll do that. And then we're also going to take questions, maybe 2 to 3 a week, regarding your guys' thoughts on the podcast, things you want to hear us talk about. We won't really help you guys in terms of team building or who to pick up off the waiver. Obviously,
or who to start or who to sit.
Obviously, we're competing against you guys too, but we just wanted to try something new, something funny.
Like if a question was like, what are your thoughts on Andrew Luck? Something like that. That would be like a good question to have.
Yeah, and it's open. It's not really helping anyone. If you say, hey, should I start Juju or should I shart?
Should I shart?
Or should I start Julio Jones? We're not going to talk about that. That's up to you.
P.S. Start both of them.
Yeah. Don't be. Cool. So going to next bullet point. Let's see. Welcome back. So we're just doing our welcome backs. We're going to go through last year's standings. We are going to say your team name last year, your team name this year, and who you are. But we're going to go from worst to best. Okay.
So
Corey,
we'll start off with Mr. Ethan Hartzell, who is now the prized winner and has his pride possession of the Heart Soul Bowl. So he actually has his, like a trading card pretty much, that has his full body on it with a tiara and a sash that says Fantasy Football Loser, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it says, you suck. Ethan, I suck Hartzell. His position was loser, and he is the absolute worst.
So those are good things to be.
Wait, hold on. We have a quote from Ethan. Let me pull this out.
Ooh, I didn't know we had a quote.
Yeah, dude. So it says, Ethan Isaac Hartzell, the absolute worst, position loser, hometown, Loserville.
Ooh, that's not a good place to live.
Quote put on his card. He said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't make, Ethan. Perfect.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't make?
Yeah, you heard me.
Okay.
I said it exactly as he said.
So he actually went by the Washington Red Skulls last year, and I actually have a little clip for him because I thought it'd be fun. Ooh. So let me turn up my volume. What we got?
And fun fact about this man is he actually came in last place in his fantasy football league.
It's true, he did. He actually was.
He really did that.
Yeah, it's true. He was 3-10 last year with a winning percentage of .231, which is terrible. Although look at the tiara; it's beautiful.
So you can wear this tiara
the entire draft,
and this pretty sash here. If you're just listening, you can't see it, but you have to check out the video. This pretty sash.
I'm a loser at fantasy football with a pink unicorn. I wish it was a pretty kitty cowboy.
Oh, you and me both. And then what else does he have to do? What's on his car?
Oh, he has I forgot about this. He actually has a license plate frame that says, like, I suck at fantasy football or something of that nature. But anytime we request for him to send a picture to us throughout this year up until the season is over. He has to do so.
He has to send us a picture of
Anywhere he is.
Of him and the license plate frame
It's like,
to prove that he still has it on his car.
and he actually didn't have, I mean, he was bad, but he didn't have a terrible season. There's someone above him that I thought had a worse season, but he scored 1,554 points throughout the season. That's not
record for the regular season. Ethan had the worst overall record for the regular
correct.
season. But he was maybe fourth from the bottom in points. So
Yeah.
anyway, let's not harp on Ethan too long.
So we'll actually go into the next person. Go ahead, Matt.
You know we love you, bud. Can't wait to play some fantasy football with you. Next up, we have Jake. Oh, wait. Did we say Ethan's name this year?
Let me get it pulled up.
Ethan is going by a Chubb's Purpose.
Chubb's Purpose.
To explain.
So Nick Chubb is a player for the Cleveland Browns. So
our theme last year was heroes and villains. Our theme this year is movie titles or TV shows that you make a joke out of using a football reference. So Ethan went with a Chubb's Purpose, and his picture is the cover of the movie A Dog's Purpose, but he erased dogs and put Chubbs.
if you've ever seen the movie and you own a dog, don't. Or if you haven't seen the movie and you own a dog, do not watch this movie. It is terrible. Like, it just rips your heart out.
Okay, going on to the next one. In 11th place last year, we had Dak the Destroyer, which is Jake Garner, Crackhead Jake. And this year, where is he at? He is going by
Dak to the Future.
So his Back to the Future reference. Nice. Too bad it's a cowboy. Okay, going on.
Next, we got Jimmy at the Suicide Squad, which is a decent name. Ndamukong Suh, like, pretty dirty player, and the Suicide Squad was pretty dirty. But he came in at 6 and 7 last year and was tied for ninth technically, but he was in 10th place because he's terrible. Mm-hmm. But he will be going as the Inglorious Bradfords, which is a play on Inglorious Bradfords. The same word twice. Bastards. So
I don't think I said Jake's record last year. Last year he was 4-9. So Ethan was 3-10. Jake was 4-9
with 1,400 points, by the way. Pretty bad.
Yeah. And then next we got Hail Hydra. That is Jeff Link. He's got a super dope name this year. It is Jeff's Team.
Solid. Everyone knows who they're playing. Solid team name.
I wonder whose team this is. I believe it's Jeff's team.
Jeff's team? There should be a question mark in there.
But Jeff also finished at 6 and 7, but he had 1,664 points scored. That's pretty dang good, actually. Yeah, Jeff had one of the highest points scored against him. He had the second highest points scored against him.
Yeah. And then
with the next person having the most points scored against him.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah. So that next is actually David at Fantastic Fournette at 4-9, which makes no sense because he has the second worst record. But we do actually do a consolation bracket to where that TR and Sash come into play. So he actually got second in that portion of it. So he was at 4-9 with 1,538 points, and he gave up the most points, 1,808 points. He was just getting steamrolled every week.
Yikes. And everybody just had their best game against him every week.
I did both times.
That's what you get for drafting in Miami.
Yes.
And this year he is also Fantastic Fournette because his team name remains the same. Fantastic.
He hasn't changed it. We asked him to.
Our superheroes. So he's going with that. Next up, we have Snap the Ball. That is Dallas Stumbaugh. He was 5-8. He had 1,538 points for, 1,713 points against him.
How many numbers did you just say?
I thought I said 1,713 wrong, but it just sounded weird. But it was right. And he is this year. I love his name, dude. Odell Where Art Thou?
It's a good name.
We're going to talk about our favorite team names later, but that is one of my favorites for sure.
It's a good one.
Dallas, can't wait to play with you, man. Love your team name. Let's get it.
Yeah, I can't wait for the draft.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear Dallas be so mean to Corey.
No, he needs to be nice to me.
I agree. I've told him.
If he punches me in the head.
Over and over. But hey, draft is going to be some good, harmless fun. I can't wait.
I can't wait either. I literally can't. Next would be the Deflatable Hulk, aka coming in 6th place. Matt Thompson at 8-5. He was the last in the championship bracket. He actually scored a ton of points, 1,762. He had a pretty good team. And didn't give up that many points. So 1,661. That's not bad. It's a good solid year.
I played in the consolation for 5th and 6th place against my brother, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Good name too.
Wait, we didn't talk about my team name this year. Tell them my team name.
Oh, your team name this year. You don't have his jersey on. That's okay. But it is Wild Wentz.
I'm sending off Nick Foles with pure love because that's my boy. And I had this jersey from the first time he was on our team. And then he won us that Super Bowl. And he's my boy. But also Carson Wentz is my boy. So I'm going Wild Wentz.
It's a good name. It's a good name.
Justin comes in at 8-5 last year, 1,665 points for. Really, people had bad games against him. 1,454 points.
I wish that someone scored 1,400 points against me.
Lowest points against.
By far.
Yeah, by 100 at least.
Yeah.
The next one in line. It's like he didn't play someone one week.
Lucky.
Oh, that's familiar. I'm sorry, we won't go there. Philadelphia Eagles this year. He's coming in as the Philadelphia Eagles. I was talking to him on the phone before this.
Oh, does he have a team name?
Yeah, I believe.
Is he dropping it right now?
I don't know. It's not updated yet, but I believe he is going with. I could be wrong, but I believe he's going with Kung Su Panda.
Like SUH?
Yes, very good. Kung Fu Panda. Those of you that know Justin, that's Justin's thing. He is Poe. I love it. So Kung Su Panda. I think that's the one he's going with. Not too sure.
Oh my God!
He sent me.
What's the little guy in Kung Fu Panda? The master.
Master. It's like Shifu, isn't it?
Arlo should be Shifu.
Arlo is Shifu.
What?
I don't know. On to the next one.
Next would be Professor Flex. That'd be Chase. We actually have a new player, and we'll talk about him in a second. But Chase came in at 8-5 and played in the 3rd place game, and I had beaten him. But he had 1,675 points, so it's great. It's a great season.
After him, we got the Mad Titans. That is my bald companion. He was the Mad Titans last year. As we all know, that is what they refer to Thanos as, is the Mad Titan, and he's a Titans fan. Came in also at 8-5. Look at how many people we had at 8-5. 2nd through 6th place had the same regular season record at 8-5. I remember that came down to the last second for points. Like Jimmy needed to score something to keep someone out of it, and he didn't. It was
because I had a bye.
It was against Justin or something, and Justin squeaked into the top bracket. But you were 8-5. You had the most points scored. You had 1,884 points scored for. You had 1,639 points against. That would have been an extra $100. But we'll talk about rule changes here in a second. That would be one of them, though. So in this case, Corey would have gotten 100 points extra, or $100 extra for being the top scorer in the regular season.
I'll go ahead and do it again. It's fine.
Okay. We'll go over that once we get to the new rules.
Next would be a newcomer into our league last year. Came in, first of all, with spreadsheets, all this stuff going on. No idea who this guy was. First of all, I don't know how old he is, but he looks very young for how old he actually is.
His real name is Benjamin Button.
Yeah, he looks amazing. So kudos, Nick, at Captain Camerica.
But he's going backwards.
Yeah, he looks great. But Captain Camerica, obviously Captain America with Alvin Kamara as the play on words, but was also 8-5, finished 2nd place. But 1,778 points, which is incredible. That's a great season. But kudos, Nick. We're glad to have you in our mix. I can't wait to ruin you this year.
Ooh, that sounds weird. I forgot to say your team name, Corey.
Oh, yes.
Yours is also one of my favorites. Corey this year will go by Hot Chub Time Machine. Great play on words.
It is.
I love it.
And Nick will actually be Varsity Blues Clues.
Love it.
It's a good name.
He was another one of the ones that texted me that was like, shoot, did you lock teams? And I'm like, no, we're not locking them. We're going to talk about them on something because we haven't really talked about what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
This podcast. Dallas guessed it a couple days ago, and I told him.
Immediately.
Yeah. He was like, what, are you guys recording a podcast or something? It's like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. But yeah, so Hot Chub Time Machine's Corey, and Varsity Blues Clues is Nick. And then number one from last year, the winner of the new ham bone.
I wonder why it's new.
I don't know. It's like, I don't know. It just doesn't smell like the one that we had before.
I wonder why.
Long story short, little Miss Brittany, love you to death, Mom. I gave her the trophy 10 minutes after I had it finally engraved with her team name and everything on it. She had it for 10 minutes, and I got a phone call, and I knew exactly what the phone call was about. And she calls me, and she was like, Matt, and I'm like, no, don't. I was getting out of my car. It fell to the ground. It shattered, and my heart sank. We had spent a bunch of money on this thing. I took it all over to get it engraved.
Mm-hmm.
And then she sent me pictures because I thought she was messing with me. Oh, she sent me pictures. I wish there was a way on this video podcast to put up a picture. Corey, if you could figure out how to do it, I'll send you the picture. But
I'm sure I could figure it out.
This picture right here. And it was just, she was like, if I put it back together and I don't touch it, it looks normal. No, it's.
Oh, here you go.
No, so we ordered a new one.
Look at that.
So our trophy is called the Ham Bone. It was originally Earth's Mightiest Avenger, but when we changed the name of the league, so that way we don't have to do heroes every year. We're going to change up the theme each year. So we now play for the Ham Bone, which I don't remember who gave. I think it was Jimmy or someone that gave that, and that's a great name for a trophy.
Yeah, it's actually when you get 4 strikes in bowling, that's what it's called.
It's called a ham bone?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Swear to God.
So it goes turkey and then ham bone?
And then a Yahtzee.
Are you really?
Yes, I bowl.
I know you bowl. Remember, one of us is bald by nature and one of us is bald by choice. Guess which one?
There's 2 people that sweat during bowling. People that are unathletic and people that take bowling too seriously.
That's a dad joke almost, and we're not even to our dad.
I'm both of them.
And then our new player. Who's our new player, Corey?
So he will be taking Chase's spot, but his name is Brett. He is Matt's cousin, and he will actually be – oh, yeah. I always forget about that part. But he will be going as – what is his team name?
Keenan and Kelsey.
Oh, Keenan. That's a good name. You forgot to say Brittany's team name.
Golden. Oh, God. Just because I don't want to.
It's the Fantasy Suite.
Brittany is going with a Bachelor reference for her team name.
That's not TV, first of all.
She's the Fantasy Suite, which I believe is where the people go when it's like the final few to do the hokey pokey, the adult hokey pokey. We are a family-friendly podcast.
You put one thing in, you put one thing out, I'm just kidding.
And so we're trying not to cut really bad jokes like Corey just did, but that's all right. But yeah, replacing Chase this year, we have Brett Wallace coming in at Keenan and Kelsey.
Which is a great name.
Happy to have you, man. We have a few people who would love to be in the league, but we capped it at 12. We have all kinds of people that are like, yo, let me know if someone drops out. So, Brett, you were number 1 on that list. Just want to welcome you, man. Super excited to have you this year. Moving on, next bullet point item. Dang, that was like a chunk of time right there to talk about all the teams last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I love it. It gives everybody their own little intro. So we're going to go over the worst draft items from last year, starting with
I got ready.
Jimmy drafting Le'Veon Bell for $60. And how did those stats turn out, Corey?
Yep, all zeros across the board.
Yeah,
He did not play.
Didn't play a single game, and he started this conversation for for every player really, that holding out will in turn get you what you want. And in this league, it's paid, it's money.
Mm-hmm.
So we're actually in the middle of 2 holdouts right now with Ezekiel Elliott from the Cowboys and Melvin Gordon from the Chargers. As of today, I didn't read anything, Corey, but as of today, nothing. There was no update on their current
I think Zeke is talking to the Cowboys. Last thing I had heard, I think someone said that he's back in Dallas. He lives in Dallas. That's where he's going to go home because he was in Cabo before, training. And
I guess they offered him. Dallas Stumbaugh was telling me they sent an offer. I looked it up. They didn't give the specifics on the offer, and I don't remember the 2 players that they put him in between. But they said it's between $57 million and 55, or between
for 2 years,
$60 million and between $55 million or something. No, I think that was for 5 years. I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. Or 3. I don't know. Now I'm just literally guessing.
We're really good on numbers and stats, by the way.
Arguing over millions of dollars, which
he wants to be, because actually Joe Thomas, used to play for the Cleveland Browns, like a left tackle maybe. He was getting behind Zeke on making money, because if you're the best in your position and you're about to get re-signed, apparently you should be making 15 to 20% more than the highest paid guy, which is Todd Gurley.
His contract this year, I think, is what, $2 million or something?
Oh, it's got to be higher than that.
No, it's smaller. I'm gonna pull it quick.
Okay. But I don't know what's going on with that. He's may or may not sign. I feel like he has a better chance to sign than Melvin Gordon does. Melvin Gordon's I don't think he's going to play.
It's supposed to be $3.85 million.
Okay, I would hold out as well.
And that's as much as I hate the Cowboys, he, season after season, is one of the top performing running backs in the league. So he's still on a rookie contract. They're trying to hash things out. He got offered $50 million. He turned it down, or he got offered $55 and turned it down. Wants a little more. That all comes back to Lev Bell kind of paving the road for that.
Correct.
Do you think the Cowboys will pay him what he wants?
Yes.
Do you think the Chargers will pay Melvin Gordon what he wants?
No, I think he will be traded.
Yeah, I think you are correct on both of those. I am also taking those guesses.
If they trade for him, they will get a lot in return. The sucky thing is Phillip Rivers only has a few more years left. If you trade for a young guy that isn't developed or isn't obviously to the abilities of Melvin Gordon, how long is it going to take for that guy to get to that point?
Saquon Barkley or
which they won't.
Gurley, but
they might get Gurley maybe.
I don't know, dude. What if Zeke came to the Eagles? I hate him, but I wouldn't hate him then. Hey,
you'd be like, I got already online getting a Zeke jersey immediately.
Moving on to the next worst part of last year's draft. I believe at the end of our draft last year, so you have $200 to draft a team for those of you who have never done auction. You have $200 to draft a team, and you're supposed to use it all. But Jake Garner last year, I think he had like $40 left at the end.
That is not good.
Perfect, dude. Perfect timing.
Not good.
We're learning things like these drops and recording this.
So if they sound terrible, just deal with it.
The worst podcast you've ever listened to, but dude,
it's us.
I've already had so much fun with it, so who cares?
I was so nervous when we started, by the way.
And now it's just like we're talking and the homies are listening. Maybe not. Who knows?
Because Jeff actually kind of used to do this back in the day, like on our Facebook page. I think it might have even been on MySpace at some point. But he was like
guesses and what would happen.
Mm-hmm. Which is fun. So we're kind of taking a little page out of that and just diving into it.
Heck yeah.
So last year, the best player drafted.
You can't talk about yourself.
Hold on. There's something right here. Okay. I got you. Go ahead. Talk about it. I'll just sit back and.
Last year, best player. Whoa, what was that?
That was me yawning.
Oh, that was super loud.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay, I might have
sent an email, like that sound that like iPhones make, where it's like. Whoosh.
Oh.
Anyway, Corey drafted Mahomes last year. Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs quarterback, for $2.
How much was it?
$2.
Well,
literally $2. Was he the top performing quarterback last year? I think he was.
He was the top scoring player last year.
He was the top scoring player. There is no way in heck that Mahomes is going for $2 this year. That was an absolute steal for Corey.
He actually had the greatest fantasy season of all time.
That's gnarly.
Yeah.
When you started the season last year, though, you didn't start very well, right?
I think it was kind of iffy because I actually drafted Drew Brees and Mahomes because I was like kind of a homer pick. I live here in Kansas City. People are talking Mahomes up, and I'm like, you know what? Let's try it out. Let's see what Mahomes is about, especially for $2. And it pays. And I actually traded Drew Brees to you for Kareem Hunt.
Might have to edit that one out. That's. You call him Jordan Hunt?
No, Kareem Hunt.
Like I said, Jordan. Yeah, and Kareem Hunt didn't do very well the first 2 or 3 games. I traded you for Drew Brees because I traded Matt Ryan to Ethan for I don't even remember who, and so I was stuck with no quarterback. But I traded for Drew Brees, traded up, I thought. Then all of a sudden, Kareem Hunt's just going off. But then week 8, he kicks someone and he's done or whatever. But
yeah, it was terrible. He should not. By the way, we're not condoning that by any means. Please do not do that. That was terrible. Now he's in Cleveland where it happened. So we'll see what happens.
On Mahomes, congrats to you. I would say not an equal pick, but an equal steal would be Nick. He drafted Jared Goff for $2 as well.
It's a great pick.
And Jared Goff did really well. So Nick sent me a spreadsheet of every player and how much they went for last year. So I have that on my phone. We could talk about others later, but
for sure. So and then also Todd Gurley went for a lot of money. We have $200, by the way. $200.
This is probably the best amount Dallas has ever spent.
Oh yeah,
it was $84.
Yeah, and he finished in 7th place, by the way.
Place. His tagline for the season was best $84 I ever spent.
He said it at least 27 times.
And it was on Gurley.
He said it at least 84 times.
I got to give Dallas a shout out. We placed the first water bet of the season. I don't even know if we announced it, but I bet that Antonio Brown would retire over the helmet issue because that stubborn. And he did not retire, and he is wearing the new helmet. So Dallas gets to spin the wheel of water, which also comes from the Fantasy Footballers podcast.
Correct.
You guys listen to them for like true tips and tricks on how to play.
It's great. It's really good listen. It's interactive to where like they're talking back and forth. There's no really dead air or anything. It's fun to listen to. They know what they're talking about. They're very accurate as well.
Okay, I'm going to go over the rule changes. I'm going to try to do this pretty quick because this could turn boring. But first difference, last year the payouts for first place was $600+. Second place was $200. Third place was $100. This year we're switching it up. We're going to include highest points scored in the regular season. They're going to get $100 just for having the highest points. Third place gets $100 again. That's the same. Second place is getting $300 this year instead of $200. We want to make it. If you make it to the championship, you deserve at least $300. And first place, their number's actually coming down. It'll be $500+, whatever's left over. Cool thing about our buy-ins, we do a catered draft party. We get pizza, snacks, a live draft board, which I have all this stuff. Like this is all stuff for the draft right here. Super fun time. And it doesn't cost us but $200 to do the draft party. So we have about a grand left over for winnings. Last year, there was this weird thing where you could drop players off of your bench after they played, and you could pick up players who haven't played. It just didn't seem right or fair.
I agree. Yeah.
And just everybody knows that these were all voted on. It took at least 7 yeses to get these things passed out of the 12 of us. So this year we are not allowing players to be dropped after they play, no matter where they are. I don't think this is something that we can set in the rules. This is honor system. Guys, if you have a player play on your bench, don't drop them. Leave them there. We voted on it. That's the rule now, okay? Last year, fumble rule. I'm so glad this one has changed. It was -1 if you fumbled, and then -1 if the fumble was lost. So let's say Carson Wentz fumbles the ball, but Carson Wentz picks it back up. Carson Wentz still gets -1 point. That didn't make any sense to me. This year, it's 0 for fumble, but -2 for fumbles lost. So collectively, it's the same amount if they lose the fumble, but if your own team recovers the ball, you don't lose any points.
Great rule change. Great.
Yeah. We do fab dollars, so we don't do just like it's not a snake. We don't do reverse order standings for waiver wire pickup. We do fab dollars. You get 100 fab dollars for the year, and highest bidder wins the waiver. James Conner, I think, was a great
$40.
I think how much was he? I think it was 26.
Oh, I thought it went for 40. I could be wrong. Well, that's Brittany.
He was low, though. He was like the first acquisition.
Someone went for $40.
I believe that was Justin with whoever it was from the Jets, the running back.
I have no idea.
I don't remember. Not important. Anyway, going on. Fab dollars last year not allowed in trades. This year, fab dollars are allowed in trades. Trades don't happen very often as it is, so we're hoping this might entice people to trade a little more. Like the Kareem Hunt for Drew Brees trade last year. This year, you could see something like Kareem Hunt and 10 of my 100 fab dollars for Drew Brees. And then us commissioners, me, Jimmy, and Jeff, we can go in, adjust fab amounts. That's the only way fabs can actually be included. But
I didn't know that rule was happening, and I'm kind of pumped for it.
You just now realized that?
Yeah. There's so many rules that were changing. I'm in for that one. So go ahead.
Draft nomination order. This is just for fun. There's no real rhyme or reason to this. Last year we did draft nomination order was random. Just because the nomination order is what it is doesn't mean anything except for who nominates who when. So this year we're going last place to first place. That means Ethan will be the first person to nominate a player, and Brittany will be the last person to nominate a player. And then we'll just keep going in that order.
Which I think is what she had last year. She was the last person to nominate.
Brett will take over Chase's spot in that order, so he will actually go fourth to last or however that falls in line. And
yes, correct.
I thought TR almost attacked me. The draft. So last year we allowed computer and videoing in. This year you must be present this year and from now on. And all these rules stay unless they're voted on or changed later. Playoffs. We did first place through sixth place, regardless of points. Another incentive for highest points scored in the regular season. This one's a little tricky to word. So last year we did first through sixth place, got into the playoffs no matter what sixth place had scored. Now what we're doing is first through fifth place are locked in a spot, and the sixth seed in the playoffs will be the highest point scorer out of 6 through 12. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Last year, we didn't have a name for the last place game. This year, it was played between Jake Garner and Ethan Hartzell. Ethan Hartzell lost for last place. So this Wall of Shame has been called the Hartzell Bowl Wall of Shame. The Super Bowl of losers is called the Hartzell Bowl. And that's actually made by my stepdad, Ron. Shout out to Ron Lowe. He got us all hooked up with that, and then we did the rest of it.
Yeah, he did a great job with that.
But that's forever named the Hartzell Bowl. As long as this goes on, you can see here there's slots for, what's that, 20, 25, 20 people.
20. Yeah.
We're hoping we do this for 20 years, guys. That's how much we're into this. Each year we do something a little different, something new, something fun. This year's the podcast. So last year was the new type of draft. We're just always trying to make this more relevant, more fun for you guys. Field goals last year. Here's another change. Last year, if your kicker scored a 20 to 29-yard field goal, you got 2 points. This year, you're getting 3 points minimum no matter what. I think that's a great rule. Field goals count for 3 points for the team. So anything up to 39 yards will be 3 points. And then 40 to 49 yards will be 4. 50 to 59 yards will be 5, and so on. I think 5 is actually the max you can get.
Okay.
Defense, no points for fourth down stops last year. This year, if your defense stops a fourth down, I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but if you have a defense and they get a fourth down stop, you get 1 point for your defense for that. And that one we actually were able to set in the scoring rules.
Oh, heck yeah.
Trade deadline, I went in and set that. We did this last year, so I just assumed we're carrying it over. We moved the trade deadline for fantasy as close to the NFL trade deadline as possible.
Solid.
So this year, the NFL trade deadline is October 29th. My two options were October 27th or November 2nd. I think it's only fair to do the date after the one instead of before the NFL's cutoff. So November 2nd is our cutoff date for trades. And those are the only rules that passed with everything. There was some that were voted, like only 8 people voted on them. I know one of the ones, Corey, that you talked about, and we're actually, I mean, for now, all the rules are locked in for this year. But I know you weren't a huge fan of defense or DSTs.
Oh, this is dumb.
Individual players getting points. Here's the rationale, I think, for those of us that voted not to change it is, so it was a Tyreek Hill touchdown. It was
week 1.
Week 1, kickoff week 1. Tyreek Hill ran it all the way back for a touchdown. Kansas City defense got 6 points, and Tyreek Hill got 6 points. Okay.
Chase did not have the Chiefs, but he had Tyreek Hill. But I assume that the Chiefs were going to get the 6 points, and Tyreek Hill got the points.
And the Chiefs.
Yeah, but like for his team, Tyreek Hill got the points. And I was like, whoa.
The stat, though, behind this is Tyreek Hill gets a touchdown statistically. So if you have Tyreek Hill, and he gets a touchdown, you get the points for a Tyreek Hill.
It's draft strategy.
Yeah, and there's not very many offensive guys that are returning the ball usually. Like, I mean,
there's less than a handful.
Tyler Lockett and Tyreek Hill, like those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head. Kamara, maybe. I think he's
not anymore.
No. But
not that he's the number 1 back there.
But yeah, it changes the draft for some people. You might spend more on a Tyreek Hill because he's going to be returning touchdowns.
Correct.
One thing I'm going to look in next year, just as a possibility, is return yards. I think maybe every 25 return yards would be cool for 1 point, either for the defense or for the special teams or for the player,
or for an interception.
Yeah. Also a good thought. Interceptions, yeah, just something more. I think it's more fun to amp up the defenses because the defenses. I don't know.
Are you trying to do plural of defense?
Yeah, defenses.
Yeah.
Don't
fact check us, please.
Just want to amp up the defense scoring capabilities because kickers and defenses usually could be your lowest scoring players usually.
Yeah. They're replaceable, not irreplaceable. Yeah. They're replaceable.
Unless you have like the Bears or whatever. The Bears.
Yeah.
Anyway, going on. That's all the rule changes happening this year. We'll go over those at the draft. I'll have this paper. If you guys have any questions, just hit us up.
Yeah.
Okay, Corey.
Next would be our favorite team names. So we're just going to pick 3 that we like. And
number 3. Start from the bottom and go to your favorite.
My number 3 is probably Jeff's team. Just because it's stupid. And I know it's not going to stay that way, but it's just funny because it is Jeff.
I bet you it will stay that way because it's Jeff and Jeff's funny.
Maybe. Next would probably be Keenan and Kelsey.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great name.
Love
Play
it.
on words like Keenan and Kel from like Nick from back in the day.
Love it.
And then my number 1 I think it's mine, Hot Chub Time Machine. I know it's petty to pick my own, but I like it. I think it's funny.
Nothing less of you, Corey, than to talk about yourself the most.
I know, it's just real good.
I'm going to go with my number 3 is the Fantasy Suite. No, I'm absolutely joking. That's my number 12. My number 3, I'm going with Jimmy, dude. Inglorious Bradfords. That's pretty funny. That is that's just a good one. It just rolls off the tongue perfectly. Number 2, I'm going to go with Ethan's because I think that the hidden meaning behind it is what's hilarious. A Chubb's purpose. There's something about that just tickles me, and I love it. And then my number 1, I'm going to do it. I'm going to have to say it's Dallas. Odell, where art thou?
That's a good name. We have a lot of good names this year.
That is a solid 10 out of 10, Dallas. Odell, where art thou? Brett, yours is actually probably tied number 2, number 1 up there. Keenan and Kelsey, I love it. I just chose not to use it since Corey used it. Yeah, Odell, where art thou? Dallas. I know the team name you wanted, and I'm gonna say it just so everybody has the joy of hearing it.
Oh.
Dallas wanted the team name 10 Things I Hate About Corey.
Oh, I thought you were gonna do the other one.
And if you got challenged on it, we were gonna say, oh no, like Corey Clement.
So next we got who do we think is gonna draft Ezekiel Elliott?
I think Jake. I think Jake's going to draft Zeke because he's a Cowboy. I also think Jake believes that they will settle before the season starts. And I think they will too, actually. But
I think it's someone else.
who do you think?
I think Nick takes him.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, Nick has done so much research that I feel like he knows somebody in Dallas somehow and has this connection. I have a feeling that
Stupid.
I honestly do. Nick knows. He just came in with a lot of information. I was like, "Who's this guy over here?" I'm still testing the waters with Nick, but I think Nick takes him.
Very knowledgeable fantasy. If you look at the Yahoo accounts, he actually has gold status, gold medals. He's played for 7 years or 11 years or something. It said.
I have poop. I have poop level
for sure. And
next would be who drafts Melvin Gordon.
Oh wait, hold on. How much do we think Zeke goes for?
Oh, that's a good question. It's a great question.
Minimum $30. If nothing is settled by the draft, I'm going to put him in the 30 to 40 range.
I think he goes for 45.
If no settlement?
Yes.
Okay, if they settle, how much do you think Zeke goes for?
$65 at least.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Okay, who drafts Melvin Gordon?
Brett.
See, I don't think so.
You think Dallas takes him?
No, I don't think either of the actual Charger fans will take him.
Who do you think takes him?
I think they both know that
it's going to be Jimmy because Melvin Gordon won't play this year.
I think that the Chargers won't pay him, and I think Dallas and Brett both know that. I think whoever we say, they're purposely not going to draft them.
Maybe so they'll reverse psychology it.
I might draft Melvin. I'll consider Melvin if we see where the talks are at the time. See, I would never consider Zeke. That's just obvious. I would never consider Zeke.
Would you take a guy like Zeke, even though he's a Cowboy, and if he had signed?
No, absolutely not.
Just because he's a Cowboy?
Yeah. You will never catch a Cowboy on my team. Not even kidding.
Okay.
That's just.
What if they get traded halfway through the season and become a Cowboy like Amari Cooper did last year?
Oh, I'll drop him to the waiver wire. Instant drop.
That's crazy. I hope something happens and someone becomes a Charger or a Cowboy.
I'll ask for $2 fab for him if he gets traded.
How much do you think Melvin goes for?
Oh, I don't even think Melvin goes for $30.
I don't 20 to 30.
Yeah, he's hurt. He's not settling a contract. I mean, he's not hurt, but he has a history of injury. We'll see. Maybe he doesn't even get drafted, dude. Who knows? I mean, someone will probably
be wild.
But
that'd be wild.
But
next,
big
go ahead.
News a couple days ago,
Andrew Luck retired. He just said, "I'm done."
I got 2 or 3 texts from people who I know who play other fantasy leagues, and they're like, "Oh, I drafted him at 3:00 today."
I was literally in a draft when this happened, and my friend Chris took him, and because I just get on there, I'm like, "Oh, Twitter, Andrew Luck, what the heck?" So I'm at the Chiefs game on Saturday, and this is how it happens. So I go to look on who took him, and I'm like, I call him immediately, and he's like, "Don't even talk to me right now." He's so mad.
I would be mad too.
Oh, heck yeah. As a Titans fan, I'm pumped. We can't beat Andrew Luck.
I didn't look too far into it, but did he get hurt, or is it a history of injuries?
It's a history of injuries. So he's gone from injured to pain to rehab, injured, pain, rehab, injured, pain, rehab for the last 3 years pretty much. And he's just he told himself, I guess, he could, if it got to a certain point where he had to choose himself or the game of football, he was going to choose himself, which kudos to the guy for pulling the trigger on that type of thing to where you're just, making it happen. But as a Colts fan, I would be so angry.
Oh, yeah, that would be like Carson Wentz retiring because he's injury prone.
Yeah, but they actually, in Vegas, people that had taken Andrew Luck, bet on him as the MVP for this year, some casinos were refunding their bet. Which is good for the casinos to do so. But
how would that usually work, though? If he got injured and put out, they lose their money?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But since he had retired, and it's such a crazy thing, they just refunded people's money if they wanted it. So
Right on.
kudos to them.
All
Next,
right.
we're going to do our Super Bowl predictions for the year. Who we think we're going to lock it in. Who's going to come out of the AFC? Who's going to come out of the NFC? Who's going to win the Super Bowl as well? So, Matt, who do you think is going to come out of the NFC?
Well, okay. Obviously, a little biased, but I am taking the Birds, dude. I am taking the Birds versus the Chiefs. And I just think that would be a cool Super Bowl. I think seeing Mahomes versus Wentz would be cool. Two young guys who, I mean, Carson Wentz has won a Super Bowl, but he didn't play. So it's like not the same thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I want to see Carson Wentz out there. I think Carson Wentz he's like one of those Larry Fitzgeralds of the league where I don't think there's anything bad anyone can say about him other than like he's an Eagle. Like, okay.
He went to North Dakota State, right?
I don't even know.
I think he did. And he has like a dog, and he's just like walking his dog on this, like, yeah.
Dude, he's got like a California king. It's like,
Oh,
it's
really?
like 12 feet long. It's on his Instagram. You should check it out. He's like one of them guys that's like, dude, I would love to meet him in my lifetime. That would be like one of the coolest people I could meet. He does a lot of like that nonprofit, a lot of that nonprofit jargon. He does a lot of nonprofit stuff. He has like a company where he goes and feeds homeless people out of a food truck. It's like a homeless people food
that's
truck.
awesome.
Super religious guy. In all his interviews, he's always just so thankful to his fans, to the team, to his
Polite.
Dude, he's just no cockiness, no attitude on the field. He's not your Richard Sherman or your Odell Beckham's like throwing their hands in the air when someone looks at him wrong. Carson Wentz. Anyway, Eagles.
Flag.
Those are my locks, and obviously, them Birds are gonna win it, boy.
So mine are actually going to be the Rams out of the NFC and the Chiefs out of the AFC. A rematch of that Monday Night Football game in LA. Best football game I've ever watched. It was so much fun.
I didn't even get to watch that game.
Oh, it was amazing. It was a shootout. Like, it was just amazing.
It was like the game after Thanksgiving, like the day after Thanksgiving or the day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I forget. It was a Monday night game, so it might have been the Monday before Thanksgiving, maybe.
I was buying my car, and it took like 5 hours.
Oh, I remember that.
And I just kept getting all these updates. And it was like, what was the final score? Was it like 60?
50? No, it was 53 to 51 or 52 to 50.
Something insane.
It was the highest scoring game of Monday Night Football history.
I heard it was the most fun game to watch.
It was amazing. But a little homer pick, living in Kansas City, going to Chiefs games a decent amount. I'm going to go with the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl for the first time since Super Bowl IV when they played the Minnesota Vikings.
Hey, even if the Eagles don't win it and the Chiefs win it, I'd be down to see Mahomes win. Well, I want to talk about Mahomes just real quick. I know he's not on our agenda.
Yes.
Do you think he'll have a repeat year?
No.
Do you think he'll come close?
No, but he will have – you can't come close to 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. He'll have 40 touchdowns and like 4,500 yards.
Will he be a top 3 performer?
In fantasy?
In everything. Like, will he be a top 3 quarterback on the season?
Yes.
Okay. Sweet. I think so too. What do you think he drafts for this year? He paid $2 last year. What's your guess this year?
I know someone wants him really badly, and it's not me.
Well, you guys already. I can't stand it.
What's that?
You guys colluding already.
No, it's someone that told me about it.
That's what I mean.
Oh, then I'm gonna.
Last year, I think our most expensive quarterback was Aaron Rodgers for $30 to Brittany. I'm putting Mahomes above $30 this year.
I'm okay with that.
But people spending that, we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm $34. That's my guess. Patrick Mahomes, $34.
Yeah, it's a good guess. I think it's a valid guess.
All right. Now, the closing segment of each week.
We're just going to do dad jokes. We're going to tell because we just love corny jokes. I think they're funny. Matt and I both love puns as well. But I'll go first. I'm actually going to change it up. I actually have 2 jokes. Can I tell 2?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. What did the janitor yell when he came out of the closet?
What?
Supplies!
I hate you.
And then my next joke would be, what do you call a Jacksonville Jaguar at the Super Bowl?
What?
A spectator.
Ooh, take that, Jimmy. All right, mine comes from my everlasting hate of the Cowboys. What do a Cowboys manager and a Chick-fil-A manager have in common?
I don't know what.
Neither of them show up to work on a Sunday. I think I said it wrong. I don't think it's a Cowboys manager.
Cowboys coach, maybe?
No, it's what do the Cowboys and a Chick-fil-A manager have in common?
Oh, that's okay.
That's all right. Anyway, that's our sad attempt at dad jokes. Your janitor one, I think, takes the dad trophy.
It's terrible, but funny.
I love it. It's one I'm going to use and tell my students.
Right? So this is the first episode. It was long, but we we went through a ton of stuff. So thank you for listening if you stayed along the whole time. We're going to be doing this, like I said, every Wednesday night, releasing it on Thursday after waivers and everything.
It won't be this long every week. We had rule changes and team name introductions and stuff. That took a chunk of the time.
Yeah, and we'll actually have a guest if someone would like to join us. It's on a Zoom call, so you're more than welcome to join us. Just let us know if you want to jump on. And we're actually going to – what's that?
Hit us with some questions if you guys have questions.
Yeah.
We'll give you a shout out as the question asker, and then we'll answer your question to the best of our ability. Like Corey said, if you want to jump on this with us one time, just let us know. I know that I've already had interest from Dallas. He said he would like to get on it one time.
Jimmy said it as well, I think. He wanted to do it.
When I was talking about it, Jeremiah said he wouldn't mind jumping on one
I
week.
would love to have someone not in our league jump on.
Okay. But anyway, next week, what we're going to talk about, so our draft is a week from yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about draft results. We're going to talk about who we think the strongest team drafted was, the weakest team drafted, the biggest draft mistake, something like drafting Le'Veon Bell when he's not going to play all season, most valuable pickup, and most money spent. Who was it on and who spent it? Dallas, I'm looking at you, my boy. So that's all we got for you guys. Hope you enjoyed. We'll catch you guys next week.
Yes, thank you so much. Bye, guys. Now I'll stop the video. I can edit all this.
I know.
Oh, God.